What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. Homebuyers are canceling deals at the highest rate since the start of the pandemic. And I told you that this was going to happen. I told you that this was going to happen. Before we even get started, make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm. If you have not already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and then turn on your notifications. There are a ton of Americans and a ton of people that are now canceling the deals that were in place. Specifically, let's go into this article. Americans are canceling deals to buy homes at the highest rate since the start of the COVID pandemic, meaning that there has never, since the start of the COVID pandemic, been a time over the last 2.5 years where people are starting to say, you know what? I don't want to be a homeowner. I don't want to take the deal that was on the table. I'm not interested in participating in this process anymore, right? Tell me that it's not happening for several different reasons, including that there's a recession, inflation, rates. And it's funny because the sentiment in real estate is that the manufacturing of this whole home thing, right? And that we wanted to keep money cheap, which made supply low, and then people overpaid for their properties. And now homeowners are literally begging people to take these properties off of their hands and willing to make concessions. I mean, a complete 180 from less than a year ago. People are saying in the industry that the biggest contributor to inflation is the real estate market. And I don't believe that alone. That's hard to substantiate, but it's hard to argue against at the same time. Let's continue. The share of sale agreements on existing homes canceled in June was just under 15% of all homes that went under contract, according to a new report from Redfin, very reliable source. That is the highest share since early 2020 when home buying paused immediately, albeit briefly. Cancellations were about 15% of all home sales canceled the deal. That's pretty high. Higher mortgage rates, surging inflation are causing many potential home buyers to reconsider their purchases. The average rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage started this year around 3%, then began rising steadily. It briefly shot above 6% in mid-June before settling in a narrow range of 5.75% now, according to Mortgage Daily. And you know what the interesting about this whole report is that it's actually going to go up even more. Jobs data came out, said that unemployment was still at a historically 3.6% low. 372,000 jobs adjusted was what it is that we hit this month or past month. And that gives the Fed another reason to raise the rates again. And we're anticipating at least 75 basis points, 0.75 basis points. So basically, 3/4 of a percentage point is what we think the rates are going to be raised to in order for them to continue to fight inflation. They're making it much harder for people to be able to pull money, which means that money isn't cheap anymore. You can't just use other people's money in order to do what you want to do. You got the collapse of cryptocurrency, all of these hedge firms that were leveraged up to their eyeballs. And then when cryptocurrency went down, they paused everything and then they prevented people from pulling out their money. You got jobs and people competing for jobs, but then you have people laying off on several different companies, including Tesla and Netflix and so on and so forth. Meta saying that they pause on hiring. They might even want to try to get rid of some people that's not supposed to be there by raising their performance goals. And so everything is in flux, everything across different industries. And that's just the stuff that's being reported on the national news. Everything is in flux. Biden don't want to address it, but instead, you got people continuing to try to push for the cancellation of student loans, or at least $10,000 of it. Everything is crazy right now. Higher mortgage rates have also caused some borrowers to no longer qualify for the loans they want. Lenders usually or generally use a debt to income ratio of about 28%. As for the ceiling of the home loans, the cost of owning a medium priced home in the second quarter required 31.5% of the average U.S. wage, meaning the average amount that the person makes or the average household income, the average U.S. wage. It required at least a 31.5% of your average U.S. wage. That means that if you make $50,000 a year, that is the equivalent of what? $15,000, $16,000, $17,000 of your median income of the U.S. wage, according to a report. That's the highest percentage since 2007, up from 24% the year before, marking the biggest jump in more than 2 decades. A lot of people don't remember what happened in 2007. A lot of people that rock with me They weren't a part of the whole 2007 2008, or they was too young to be able to experience it to the extent that I've experienced it, and seeing the market completely collapse. And I was in a recession before the recession hit, which is how it's easy for me to identify how other people may or may not be in a recession before the recession officially hits. And you don't even know how long it's going to last. Some people are saying a year and a half. Some institutions are saying 2 to 3 years. It was bad. It was absolutely bad. And the cost of owning a median priced home in the second quarter required 31.5% of the average U.S. wage. That is not good. When you're talking about a third of the U.S. wage, of the average U.S. wage, that's pretty bad. Buyers are also seeing a once red hot market turn around quickly and dramatically. They may no longer see the urgency in bidding for a home that they may feel may be depreciating over the coming years. So they're trying to time the market. This is why I'm patient. I'm a patient man. I was on a Millionaire Morning Show. I think it was on Friday, and I got a phone call from my realtor, and he was like, Anton, listen, this lady is in distress. I'm getting calls out the woodwork. When everybody had a fear of missing out and they was running around trying to purchase a home and they was offering $150,000 over asking price with no inspection and all of these concessions just to get in the home to say that they own a home that they don't really own because they still paying the services of the mortgage and they got a 30-year. It's crazy what they was buying these homes for. I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit tight and I'm going to just continue to stack and I'm going to stash and I'm going to get rid of money and I'm going to leverage what it is that I'm doing in order to make sure I'm in the best position possible because everything is cyclical. I warned you. Let's continue. Slowdown in the housing market competition is giving home buyers room to negotiate, which is one reason more of them are backing out of the deals. People are saying, listen, I know that deal was on the table, but things are changing, so I want things differently. Home builders are also seeing higher cancellation rates. Even before the sharpest increase in rates, in June, cancellations in May jumped to 9.3% in a survey of builders. That compares to 6.6% in May 2000 remorse. Buyer remorse and cancellations shortly after contract are increasing. Builders state buyers are nervous about the potential recession, struggling to get comfortable with higher payments, or expecting home prices to decline. It's bad out here. It is very, very bad out here. So you have to be careful and not falling into the rat race and making informed decisions as you continue to grow, as you continue to be more successful, as you continue to align with people that's going in the direction that you're going in. Make sure you join the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. We're doing some awesome, phenomenal things. We got a Patreon meetup on this weekend. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to be in New York. I'm dropping a location today. So those of you that are a part of the Patreon and are part of the Build the Business, that are part of the mastermind sessions, rocking through the videos, doing your work in the Discord, we are going to be connecting in New York this weekend. You're going to meet me in person. You're going to be able to ask me any question you want to ask me and Rita. But more importantly, I need you guys to be very, very careful and make sure you're informed. Matter of fact, I got a video on the Patreon of the 8 things that I look for when I'm looking to invest in a company. All right. Make sure y'all tap into that. Make sure you look at it. Again, the video is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat, the Patreon. And if you need to kick it with me personally, email me, AntonDaniels413@gmail.com, and we're going to get you popping. We're going to get you set up. We're going to get you taken care of. I'm going to coach you up to be the person that you need to be so that you can take advantage of what's happening in the recession. Because one thing is for sure, 2 things is for certain. The recession, 1 year after it, is when the majority of millionaires are made. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later.